Warning, Xero style is known to cause gas or gear acquisition syndrome. Prolonged exposure to me and my vlog may cause you to buy knives, flashlights, patches, pouches, pocket trash, and other EDC junk that you may or may not need. You've been warned. Welcome to Xero Style. I am your host, Xero, the cyberspace hero. This week I've got a clearly cool EDC theme for you. Yes, pun intended. Here this week with a preview of Datacrew's new Chartreuse Green X Pack. What a junior. I've also got an assortment of new Datacrew patches and some sweet transparent gear. Once again this week we're going to feature one of my favorite, craziest knives, the OTF Ultem Zulu from Drocket Design. You ready to check it out with me? I hope so, because we're about to just dive right in. Like all other Datacrew pouches, the What a Junior opens up clamshell so you have access to all of the gear that you've got inside here. You can see we've got a split divider pocket on both sides, one that runs the full width of the pouch, and then another one that's half width. One side's got a stretchy little divider like this, while the other one has a spot for more patches on the inside. These are very versatile patches that you can load out in a whole different array with all types of different gear. On the Ranger Eye and patch game this week, from Datacrew, we've got the new comic book panel Reaper, the very, very happy Molotov cocktail, and this sweet new beanie skull with the really fluffy, furry hat. So we got a couple of Ranger Eyes and a morale patch for you this week. And then if we open things up and take a peek on the inside, we've got a brand new spring-themed green comfy Reaper hanging out on the inside of the pouch. To complete the Datacrew patch ensemble. The exterior has a zipper pocket on the outside. You can put a number of different things in there, like this coin. Boom. I have customized my zipper pull here with a little bit of lime green paracord and a matching JRW Gear Curator Flex bead. These beads are great because they are not hard and made of metal. Since this is a protection device in the first place to protect the gear, and you're probably going to throw this in a bag or on your car seat or something like that. You don't want this banging and slanging and cranging and crashing and scratching all types of other things when it's supposed to be protecting the things inside of it. Speaking of what's inside of it, stop rambling about the pouch and let's check out the gear we've got inside. Alright, we're going to start out with the knife this week. This is the Ultem Zulu from Drocket Designs. This is the Wharncliffe edition. I really, really love this knife. The design details are so intricate. There's a milling pattern that goes all the way down the scale. It leads you right to that thumb deployment mechanism, and you just give it a little push, and the knife deploys. Push it back down, and it pulls it right back in. This is what they call a double action OTF, which means the same button doubles as an opening and closing action for the knife. Got a very deep carry pocket clip that's embedded all the way here into the back. You can see the screws and the very, very cool patterns that are along the edges of this guy. I really dig the Wharncliffe version of this knife. Look how thick it is on the back of the spine here. Very, very utilitarian for doing stuff. I've been using this like a craft knife because I do a lot of crafts. I've been making a collage out of old video game magazines, and this thing is the perfect little pointy tip to help me cut those pages right out of those magazines. This blade is M390 steel. You can see the little Drocket logo there on the back of the blade. Every once in a while, it won't quite deploy right like that. Give it a little shake, pop it back on the rails, and you are good to go. That easy. It doesn't happen a lot, but it does happen, especially when you're playing with it a lot like I am now. If you kind of treat this like a normal knife and just pull it out, use it, put it back in, you're less likely to have the knife fall off the springs of the rails. But that's kind of like the way that the knife is designed in the first place, right? There is a spring mechanism that is tensioning against the blade right now, holding it in. When you press up enough, the spring gets a chance to move, and the blade just slides along the grooves on the inside, not locked into anything, until it reaches the top where the edge of the spring is, where it needs to catch to hold itself into place. If it doesn't catch, it's just going to kind of freely be able to float in there. All you got to do to reseat it, make sure that the blade aligns back with the edge of that spring catch, whether it's in the out position or the in position. Doesn't really matter. This knife has quickly become one of my favorites in my collection, even though it is a little bit large for me. I know this is not a big knife by any means, but still, for me, a knife that's palm width, that was the max that we were allowed to have in Ohio, and I grew up, so it's It's kind of what I'm used to, a smaller than the palm width knife. This knife is what they call a mid-tech. That means that the individual components that are made out of this knife are CNC manufactured somewhere, and then they're sent to Durrell for him to actually sharpen, finish, put together, and test to make sure that they are up to his quality standards. So mid-tech, they're not 100% handmade, but they're hand-assembled, QC tuned, ready to go, and shipped to you. So I definitely think that the value is way worth it there for these knives. There's no doubt about it. OTFs, or out-the-front knives, have just become legal in Pennsylvania, so I'm super hyped to be able to carry this thing legally and enjoy it. And I hope you do too if you grab one. Alright, so back to the pouch. I like to put my knives in the little divider pockets here in the front. Just slides right in like that. Perfect. No problem at all. On the other side, in the split divider pocket, we've got a tool that I've been carrying a ton lately. This is the Silex Gear Fix, the Fix Anything screwdriver for EDC use. It's a solid piece of aluminum that has a couple different things embedded in it. We've got a bit extender, and on either side we've got 4 different bits. These are standard 1/4 inch Weehaw hardened bits, so you can put whatever style of bits that you want in there as long as they're 1/4 inch. They should fit no problem. There's magnets in the sides holding them in so they don't come out. It shakes ever so slightly, but this is very quiet. I'm completely satisfied with the level of volume of this tool just riding in a pouch, because this isn't the kind of thing that I keep in my pocket all the time. Now the way the tool functions is really simple. You pull a bit off the side, put it into the front, and you're ready to use it as a screwdriver. When you're done, slide it out back into the side, magnets hold it into place. Magnets, how do they work? Anyways, the bit extender is my absolute favorite feature. When you need a little extra reach, pull the bit extender out, put it in the tip, then take your bit and put it into the extender, and now you've basically doubled the reach of the tool. If you've got a really stuck or tight screw, stick it right here in the side and get a grip like this on there. Now you can really wrench on your screw with this much greater torqued style grip here in the middle. I really dig it. It's simple and works very, very well. Tucks away nicely into this tiny little package. It does not weigh much because it is aluminum. Take a look at the finish here on the outside. I think it's blasted and then Cerakoted, but it's definitely coated aluminum. I have no scratches on mine, though I do carry it in a pouch, but I use this thing all the time and I'm not easy on my tools. I throw them around, so I think that it's definitely worth your time and effort if you're looking to carry a screwdriver on the daily and you need something small with only like 4 bits. And nothing's stopping you from carrying a bit kit. I do that sometimes. Slides right back here into the other divider section of the pouch, just like that. Next, we're going to talk about flashlights. Now, a lot of people are like, why do you need a flashlight every single day? Well, I have children that are constantly losing things under the couch, behind the seats of a car or whatever, and I have to dig around in a dark place and find stuff. So having a light in my pocket that I can just press a button, throw like 400 lumens into the air, see what I need to see, and then throw it back into my pouch is perfect. These things are the size of a AAA battery, so you can easily put them into your wallet, your pocket, your pouch, however you want to carry them, and they take up next to no room. They charge very quickly via USB, and you're able to have them last for up to like a month sometimes on a single charge if you don't use it every single day. This flashlight that I'm featuring here is one of the earliest features that I've done on this channel, and I've loved this flashlight for a really long time. I lost my original one and got a second one. This is the Nitecore Tiki. This is a little 300 lumen USB flashlight, single button deployment. Double tap it, it goes into momentary mode where the light stays on. Starts off at lumen. Each tap hops you up in brightness till you get all the way up to max turbo. Long press it, turns back off. Press it and hold, and it goes directly to turbo. As soon as you release, boom, you're out of turbo mode. If you triple tap it, the side LED comes on. This is a UV LED. You can use this for charging glow-in-the-dark stuff, taking a look at people's licenses if you're a bouncer to make sure that they're legit, stuff like that. It's a great little flashlight that is very versatile, and I absolutely love it. Quick brightness test. I'm going to shine it on some arcade games here. You can see this is regular. I'm going to go into moonlight and then step it up real quick so we can see what that light looks like. But yeah, this is daytime with the lights off in my arcade. I have one light on my camera and that's it. So I think this is a great little light. On the back side, I've got a glow-in-the-dark OEG EDC one-eyed ghost bead. This is one of the original 3D printed ones that Eddie sent me. I appreciate you, buddy. Gotta represent the PA fam, the spooky kids. So yeah, that bead on the back, it's definitely a keeper for this flashlight. So I also want to show off this flashlight. This is the rovyvon Aurora A8 Pro UV Edition. The main LED in here is actually a UV LED. So if I turn this on, you can see this sort of purple light maybe. This is a high-powered UV LED. So if you want to see scorpions, if you want to check people's IDs, if you're looking for creepy crime scene type stuff in a place, you want to check out the sheets in your hotel room for some gross reason, this is the kind of flashlight that'll do that job for you. This is not like a huge flashlight. It's the size of a AAA battery, charges by USB, but it works great in a pinch. And if you love glow-in-the-dark gear like I do, having a UV dedicated flashlight is a great tool to charge your glow-in-the-dark stuff. Speaking of, here we have the Death Cookie from 52 Graves. This is the clear glow-in-the-dark version of this cookie. Death cookies are just fun little worry stones that you can play with. Use them as a stress ball, as a fidget toy, something like that. They are definitely cool little EDC pieces that you can put in your photos, you can play with, show them off to friends, start a conversation with. This one's a little different than most of the other ones. This is single stuff, but you'll notice there's no lanyard hole in it. As far as I know, this is the only Death Cookie that doesn't have a lanyard hole in it. And it's kind of cool. I'm definitely a lanyard guy, but I think this adds to the real cookie aesthetic. As far as the glow goes, there's actually only one spot that glows. So check it out. I'm going to charge it up with our flashlight right here. You can see this little skull glowing here in this Death Cookie. But yeah, it's very cool. I enjoy these things a lot. They're made by a cool dude in the community here, so check it out. The 52 Graves Death Cookie by Aaron Graves. Back in the pouch here. So my idea with this setup is I've got a fidget toy in the lower pocket, so I'm going to use the cookie in the back side to help secure it, right? With this sitting here, it's less likely to fall out. And because of this nice deep lip that the Wada Jr. has, it keeps the stuff, you know, sort of concentrated inside the inner portion of the pouch. But let's talk about what is down on the bottom of this pouch. This is an officially licensed Nintendo product. This is the Famicom Player One Edition Nintendo D-pad. These were sold only at Nintendo Tokyo in Japan in gacha machines. Those ball crank, you put a quarter in there, spin it, a little plastic sphere pops out and you randomly get something. I got mine on eBay. I actually have the original and the Nintendo edition. Check out this video if you want to see the other one. But these are really just simple little D-pads. They are fun to play with. If you're into using a fidget toy, these things are very satisfying. You can hit them a little harder and click them, or just roll your thumb on them and they're nearly silent. I think that the keychain gives you a little bit of fidgetability mix-up, so if you want to spin it on your finger, you can. These things are rad. I mean, I have two different versions. I like it so much. I feel like this is a left-handed fidget toy because D-pads are meant to go on your left hand on the left side of the controller, so I kind of feel like it's a left-handed fidget toy. I do a lot of stuff with my right hand at work and then like to fidget left-handed, so this is a jam here. And your thumb just knows the fighting game moves on that D-pad and just slides right around. I love it. Video game nerd. I mean, come on. Anyhow, so this is the Nintendo officially licensed D-pad fidget toy. Back into our pouch here, slide that on the lower section there behind that comfy Reaper, and that is what I've got in the pouch this week. But stick around, I'm not done talking. Quickly gotta shout out Hanks, man. Like, these things, talk about a lifesaver, especially if you have kids or allergies. This is a microfiber on one side and cotton on the other Hank. Nice embroidery around here on the edges. Super cool, totally radical 90s print on the other side. These are from my buddy's Damn Hanks on Etsy, but there's lots of other Hank sellers on Etsy. Just type in EDC Hank or microfiber Hank and check out designs that you like from any maker and buy them. Cleaning lenses, cleaning phone screens, cleaning tablets, glasses, your snotty face, your children with the food on around their mouths. Hanks. Super utilitarian, always keep one in your pocket. I don't know if you know this about me, but I'm a computer nerd. I often switch hit between multiple computers at my normal day job. I have a laptop, I have a tablet, I have a personal computer, I have a phone. I'm constantly charging devices all of the time. So I live and die by having a power bank with me all of the time. This one is my all-time favorite, and it's the current go-to that I use on the daily. The Evatronic ET-PB023, the Power Bank Xero 23 by Evatronic. They have a newer version of this that's slightly different. This is the older one, but I love this thing. It's super simplistic. There's two USB ports on the top, size A and size C. Pretty much all you need to know. If you get yourself a USB-C cable like this high-powered Satoshi, you have up to 60-watt power drive. This can plug right into your MacBook and power the whole thing. And I'm not just saying like charge it when it's off. I mean like use the computer while charging it up to full charge while actively using it. Yeah, power draw. Super good. Now the other one, the USB-A cable, this is super important. This is PD 3.0, which means this will do that power handshake that devices do. This will appropriately send the correct voltage that it needs to any given device. A device basically starts asking for power in some sort of, I don't claim to totally understand how it works, but a device starts drawing power. PD3 says, oh, okay, that's 12 watts, or oh, okay, that's 5 watts, or whatever, and then starts sending the appropriate voltage through the line to the device. So having a really nice cable like these Satoshis makes a device like this so much more powerful and so much more versatile. The next thing we're going to talk about in this video, the powkiddy rgb30, these Chinese emulation devices often have weird power requirements. Having a device that's PD3 will be able to charge those things perfectly. I literally only charge it with this. I don't use any of the USB ports or chargers in my house. I use this brick to exclusively charge that device just because I know that it's going to negotiate the power correctly. These things are kind of bland looking, so I slapped some slaps on the front of it from Smash Brothers gear. You gotta have yourself that extra life Toad and a crazy rainbow smashed Mario. So long story short, get yourself a power bank. It's like a requirement in the modern digital age, in my book anyhow. And finally, to round this video out, I want to talk about this game console. This is the powkiddy, which I love that name, powkiddy rgb30. This is a portable emulation console that can run a variety of different operating systems to emulate a ton of different types of games, all the way up to PlayStation 1, maybe a little bit of Dreamcast and N64 from title to title, depending on how demanding the game actually is, and how well the emulator core that you pick supports it. So I'm currently running Gel OS on this device. Arc OS is another very common choice of operating system for this thing. Gel is awesome and smooth on this thing. I have no complaints. For the front end, I'm using Emulation Station. This gives you a nice 3D view of all of the different games that you have in your library. You can use the D-pad or those analog sticks. I opted for the black version that sort of has a PlayStation aesthetic to it with the buttons. I really like this device. The menus are super smooth and animated. All of your box art and screenshots and stuff like that can show up. This thing has a square aspect ratio screen, which means it's perfect for portable game systems. Who'd have thought playing Game Boy on a modern Game Boy, right? But this is the device that you would want to use for a lot of those square ratio games. And some of the weirder systems like Super Nintendo that had a kind of off version of NTSC also play super great with integer scaling turned on. MAME, all of the classic arcade games play amazing on this. You actually can turn it sideways and switch it for vertical mode for some of those games if you want, but it's a square screen, so it doesn't really matter on this device. The firmware actually supports that feature more than the device really needs to. Anyhow, this thing's got Wi-Fi built in, which is a really, really tight feature for this. You can log into Screen Scraper and scrape all of the box art, the manuals, all of the game content for each of these game ROMs that you put on here. You can also do stuff with pic8 and their online BBS, which I'm going to show you right now. A dude who was working on another video game emulation project said, wouldn't it be cool if I designed like all of the specs for a piece of hardware for a video game console, how the carts would be made and distributed and all that kind of stuff for a game console that didn't exist? Then build a whole bunch of development tools in a community distribution program with a BBS and blah blah blah. And he did it. And it's called pic8, and it's an amazing modern fantasy video game console. It's got the 8-bit aesthetics of Nintendo, but you could use modern video game programming techniques because everything is programmed in Lua, one of my favorite programming / scripting languages. It is an amazing setup for writing games. I've actually been having fun playing around with doing that. Maybe you'll see a Xero style game in the future. Who knows? So the pic8 BBS actually lets you navigate live through all of these games that have been uploaded by indie developers all around the world. Anytime you want to pull a game down, just press a button and the cart will download right off the internet and pop right onto your machine. Obviously, you can just download carts off the BBS and put them on your SD card just like any other ROM, but the BBS makes it really easy to browse and find new games that are constantly being developed. Game Jam games, games that are in development, brand new releases, all that stuff shows up on the BBS right away. So it's your perfect window to the world of pic8. And this device, in my opinion, is the best way to play pic8. Number one reason? Because you don't need to use the RetroArch pic8 emulator. This thing will play the real Raspberry Pi edition of the pic8 emulator. I'm sorry. Yeah, the pic8 runtime. It is an emulator for a fantasy console. But yeah, the pic8 runtime from the real Lexalotl, however you pronounce their company name, website. Buy the pic8 emulator, it gives you a serial number, throw the bin right on here with the serial code, and boom, you are playing real pic8, which means all of the Mott games, the Shadow King, all of those really tough to play and emulate titles are going to work flawlessly on this device because it's real pic8 natively on the device. It's got little shoulder buttons here on the top. We've got a few different volume and power button options here on the top. HDMI out, if you want to plug this into a TV. This thing has Bluetooth, so if you want to use a wireless controller and plug it into the TV, you absolutely can. We've got two USB ports. One of them is for charging, the other one is for file transfer specifically. You cannot charge out of this port. And then here in the middle we've got SD card slots. So this device has a setup of one card that is used for the operating system, and then the secondary card is used for your games, save files, and everything else that goes on there. That allows it so the operating system can be decoupled from the games if you want to use more than one operating system, if you want to update or roll back your operating system without trashing all of your ROMs. I realize now that with the case on you couldn't actually see the bottom correctly. So yeah, we've got two USB ports and then two SD card slots as well as a headphone jack here on the bottom. Now if I pop one of these SD cards out, I want to show you. I always suggest these SanDisk high endurance SD cards. They're designed for multiple read-write cycles. You have something like a camera or a game console that's constantly taking the SD card data in and out, rewriting it, putting new saves on it, loading, reading, you know, you're going to have a lot of data coming in and off that card, and it's going to go bad faster. The SanDisk high-endurance cards are legitimately the best on the market, in my opinion. They're not much more expensive than cheap SD cards, so spending a few extra bucks and not having to replace them in 2 years is well worth it, in my opinion. The final thing that I want to talk about is this 3D printed case that I found on Etsy. This is a case designed specifically for this device. Notice these little weird notches here? They're actually holes that are designed for the buttons on the front of the case. See these little circles? Those perfectly line up with the analog sticks on the bottom, protecting them underneath these grips. So this is a protective case as well as a grip case, all in one. When you're holding it and you're shaking it, like, the case is on. It's not going anywhere, though you really could shake the case off if you absolutely work hard to take the case off, you can. I take my index finger right here and give it a little push from the front to pop this off. Spin it around, snap it into place, slide it into my bag, and roll out. This is all the case you need with this, which is kind of disappointing because I can't put a bunch of cool patches and stuff on it outside of it, but I'm going to get some stickers for the back of this thing to really pimp it out, I feel like. Although, this black on black on black PlayStation aesthetic is pretty sick, so maybe I won't, I don't know, we'll see. But the powkiddy rgb30 is my current new favorite handheld emulation video game console. 70 bucks on What a Geek or something like that. Link in the description for where I bought mine. I shopped around and that was the best price that I could find. Feel free to shop around. It's not an affiliate link, that's just where I bought mine. Well, that is the video for this week. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give me a like. It's the free social currency here on YouTube. If you want to order some sweet stuff from the Data Crew, make sure you use my discount code. XERO15 gets you 15% off your entire order. Pouches, patches, t-shirts, stickers, whatever those nostalgia brokers have got on their site right now. 15% off from me to you. No kickbacks. Pure hookup action for being a fan of my channel. And I appreciate you very much. And if no one has told you today, you're a rad person who deserves love and praise just like everybody else in this world. Get out there today, have some fun, play some old video games, and have yourselves a wonderful day. Later on. Yeah, pick a BB hood, of course.